I was in high school, they do your graduation photos, and they had a saying, and my saying was, my worst nightmare would be if I gained 10 pounds of fat.
Shocker, Greg. I could never have imagined that being true.
On the flip side, what if I turned around and I did the same thing to you? You're talking about how fit and stuff that you are, but you're over there and you're smallest compared to these other guys.
Oh, dude, this guy is throwing haymakers. Oh my God.
It even like affects me because I'll see people and I'm like, oh, I look like garbage compared to that.
Do you use steroids currently?
Obviously, bro.
I mean, I use...
Look at Greg's face. Chest up, shoulders back. This is Revival Fitness, your home for gains and brains. And it is time. I've been asked about this in comment sections a lot. It is from Jubilee. Is being fat a choice? Fit men versus fat men. Middle ground. Hopefully you're going to be able to see this video. I have seen that Jubilee likes to copyright strike channels that react to them, which seemingly makes no sense given that reaction videos just further contribute to their ecosystem. So we'll see how that ends up going. I have not seen a second of this video. This is going to be a true first-time reaction. And we're going to do it shirtless because it is hot as hell outside, man. It's like 96 degrees. For the purposes of audio quality, I have to turn off my air conditioner, so I'll probably melt before we can even finish this video. And that's assuming my brain doesn't melt first. It looks like we've got Schmucky the Clown, also known as Greg Doucette, and Myron Gaines. I would be happy to be on one of these panels at some point. I'm going to assume this was filmed in the United States, so I guess Greg's ban has passed from his prior PED dealings, but I would love to be on one of these Jubilee or any other one of these type of channels that does this stuff. You can get me on by contacting my agent, who is me. So do it now. So put on your hazmat suit. Let's go.
Our first prompt is, I have felt disgusted looking at a fat body.
Oh, Doucette's gonna have an aneurysm.
Can our agreeers please step forward? Whoever feels compelled to start us off.
Well, it's unacceptable to be fat.
I'm gonna assume right off the bat here, Myron Gaines is gonna do a lot of the heavy lifting in this conversation. Given the whole gimmick of that show, and especially him, he's probably gonna be popping off a lot. Notice, unsurprisingly, that Fresh Prince CAP is not here. He's so cute, he tries to contribute to the show. I guess he's off busy banging one of the thousands and thousands of women that he bangs. Allegedly.
Okay. That's a great start. I know why you say that, but it's one of those things where, do you know why you're saying that?
Look at our boy Zach rocking the chest hair. Okay, dude, he's got a pretty good aesthetic, man. His beard is clean, his hair is clean, so he's not in as good a shape as the two current guys talking, Doucette and Myron, but this guy's got way more swag.
Yes, because I've been fat before and I lost the weight.
Well, me too. I've been fat my whole life. I've been way skinnier than I am now, and I've been way heavier than I am now. Was I less valuable at one point in there?
Well, I mean, you can make an argument that you're less valuable when you're fatter because you drain resources.
Well, in terms of draining resources, that's interesting because people that are extremely muscular also do that. I mean, if we're going to look at that from the sense of, what's it really going to be the resources? Food? You have to overeat to a ludicrous degree to get extremely muscular. Not even talking IFBB pro size, just in general. I mean, if you want to be just a general guy who's noticeably big and buff, I know a lot of you guys want to call yourselves bodybuilders, you're not. But just to be buff, recreationally speaking, you need to eat more than you have to. Nobody needs to be buff either. In terms of wasting resources, maybe medically speaking, if somebody is so fat that they end up in the hospital, you know, using up medical things of that nature.
I mean, in general, being fat is unacceptable because you control every single morsel of food that goes into your mouth.
Okay.
It shows a lack of discipline, it shows a lack of character, it shows a lack of temperance, and when you're fat, it's an outward manifestation of your inadequacies.
Outward manifestation of your inadequacies. In a way, he's not wrong.
When I see somebody who's 500 or 600 pounds, all I can think of is, why do they care so little about their health that they can do this, allow themselves to gain that much weight, knowing it's taken 20, 30, 40 years off their life?
This coming from a guy like Greg, he admits to this, and it's obvious if you know anything about the scene. He abused PEDs, which you have to do to become an IFBB pro, especially in the very muscular categories. Don't let any of these people gaslight you and lie about this either, guys. Oh, I went pro on just a little bit of TRT. I want a pro show on just a little bit of test, all this bullcrap. You know that old Ronnie Coleman clip? Joe Rogan asked him,
What kind of steroids were dudes doing back then?
I mean, basic, your test, D-ball, it's just basic stuff.
yeah, if you guys think that he got to that size on only a little test in D-ball, I don't care how good of genetics he has, how elite genetics somebody has, the look of bodybuilding requires absurd amounts of PEDs. Having excess weight on you, whether it's muscle or fat, or both, that's not good for your health either way. Being overly muscled is not good for you.
I just can't imagine not wanting to live that badly.
I've definitely felt disgusted looking at my own body and looking at other fat bodies in my life. A lot of the disgust I felt looking at people was me feeling disgusted with myself and then projecting that feeling onto other people.
That is a good point.
I know that my own mental health was way worse when I was spending every fixate of my life trying to get smaller and trying to be thinner.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. People in the serious fitness scene do not relate to other people when it comes to this, but the average person does not enjoy going to the gym all the time. They don't enjoy, especially, or even want to, track every single thing they eat. They don't count single grains of rice. Like, when you're in the serious fitness scene, it's easy to lose sight of how obsessive it is, because to the average person, and realistically, I mean, they're not wrong, that is obsessive. Okay, if you want to just be a generally healthy person, guys, I know this might be a shock to some of you, you don't have to track every single thing you eat. You don't have to go exercise all the time. If you eat an appropriate diet, you could really not exercise at all, and your body composition is going to normalize at a relatively good point.
Unfortunately, some people have emotional stuff that happened, traumatic stuff that's happened, so you can't discount and just say, because they're fat.
Boo-hoo, man. There's way worse stuff going out in the world. You're fat, you made that decision, you live in the best country ever. If you live in a civilized first world country where you have electricity, internet power, etc., you deserve to be bullied. We are so privileged here in the United States and in the West in general. When I see a fat person, I'm like, wow, you got the gift of life, you got the gift of being in a developed country, and you're a fat POS talking about body positivity on TikTok?
What's interesting, though, is that even in less developed countries now, people there are getting fat because the Western food, all of the processed shit that is so pervasive here, it's getting there now. And you guys might not know this either, but a lot of people are getting diabetes now, metabolic disorders. Even if they're at a so-called healthy weight, if they're not just egregiously heavy, they still have metabolic damage from eating all of the sugar, all the high fructose corn syrup, all the seed oil. I know some of you guys are going to, seed oil's fine, bro. There's nothing wrong with it. You're ignorant of this subject. You can just admit it. It's okay. Now, what you're going to respond with is, oh, actually, they did a study and they found that there was no problem. Really? Cite the study in the comments. Cite it. Let's review it together.
We need to bring shaming back in so many other regards besides obesity. We need to do it with sluts. We need to shame fat people. We need to shame everybody.
You gotta give Myron credit, man. He's such a heel, to use wrestling terms. He just goes right at everybody. But the whole basis of their show is that they get on all these, as he said, sluts, and they basically just promote them. You know, it's funny, their whole audience are all these, like, anti-simp, red pill young guys. You know damn well the vast majority of those guys are in the chat. What's her IG, though?
Shame has been one of the strongest defenses against degeneracy and human fuck-ups.
Shaming works if you have the authority to stop people from doing the thing that you're shaming them for. Without that, the shaming doesn't really work, man. I mean, how many examples do we need to see? Somebody that gets shamed when they're young, maybe very religious family, especially girls go through this, right? Oh, don't you dare do anything. They go to college, right? Maybe she still has the V card. She's gonna go crazy, okay? You have somebody that their whole life has just been told drinking, drugs, all this is bad. They go to college, they become an adult, they move out. Very high chance they're going to start drinking and doing drugs, or at least trying them. You know, the PED thing. We hear from such a young age, oh, PEDs are for cheaters, all this other stuff. Dude, this stuff is totally pervasive. Not even in just the fitness scene. General people now take PEDs on a way bigger scale than a lot of you guys think. And all we've heard is, oh, they're bad, they're dangerous, don't do it, that's for cheaters. You don't care about your health, all this other stuff. So it's like, I don't know, man, you ask me, this shaming tactic thing, it really does not work. It can work temporarily when you have total control over somebody, but as soon as they get their own agency and their own accord, they're probably going to do a 180 on what they've been told, because that's human nature. If you're told to not do something and don't look at it, don't do this, don't do that, out of sheer curiosity, you're going to start to want to do it.
I did an experiment back in like 2015 where I like bulked for like almost 2 years, and I got up to like 250 pounds. And then I dieted down. It took me about 7 months. Tracked my calories, ate the same food every single day.
Yeah.
Went to the gym 4 or 5 times a week.
Myron could have gained more muscle if he had used one of my programs. Novice and intermediate ones available on my site, linked down below. Much more than just exercises on a sheet. I lay out everything that you need to know to make serious gains over the long term.
I am naturally this way. This is with working out 4 or 5 times
That's
a week.
not true.
100% true, bro.
Nah, bro.
No,
Come to the gym with me. This is me
it's not
working out.
natural at all, because at the end of the day, if you don't lose weight, by definition, you're not in a calorie deficit.
Oh my god, oh my god. Here's a very simple way to lose weight without lowering your calories. You ready? Eat exactly how you're eating. Go buy a pack of diuretics. A lot of these things are available over the counter. They're going to make you shed water weight by peeing. You didn't change your food intake.
People burn at their resting metabolic rate a different set of calories.
Doesn't matter.
Let's not get too granular right now.
Guys, there are many more variables at play than just calories. I know, like, this is viewed as sacrilege because this is all you guys hear. I call them the Kaiko parrots. Calories, calories, calories.
Okay, so the reason I disagreed, especially when I heard the statement, I don't think I'll ever look at somebody based on their situation and think that I'm disgusted. Do I think that there's an opportunity for growth? Do I think they've been put in a disadvantageous position that's probably makes it harder for them? Absolutely. One of my best friends is 400 plus pounds. I've helped him lose 150, 200 pounds. He's gained it back. And I don't look at him and say, I'm disgusted, but I know how bad he wants it. Seeing how hard he tries and then reverts.
Very common for people to lose a lot of weight, then gain it, and then they yo-yo. Because, right, they just follow the typical calorie paradigm that is, okay, eat less, move more. You see this with The Biggest Loser. I don't think that show exists anymore, but you exercise profusely, restrict your food, you'll lose it, and then you're going to eventually crack because that is impossible to maintain for any serious long-term duration, especially naturally. I mean, it's not going to happen, right? So then they're going to just swing back and they're going to just binge eat. I'm sure a lot of you guys know someone like this. You might be that person. It is impossible for you to say, oh, I'm going to have just one ice cream cone. A handful of French fries, that's it. No, you will go crazy. You'll eat a ton. My grandma was obese for the entire time I knew her. She did all the diets, the Weight Watchers. She would last a month or two and then completely snap and just go back, because if you don't get a serious overhaul of what you eat, holistically speaking, you can restrict all the food you want, but you restrict for too long, your hunger is going to come roaring back. That's why so many people gain and lose the weight over and over. They think it's just a pure willpower problem. I mean, that's obviously a component of this, but the vast majority of people who go on these diets, they don't actually learn anything about fixing their satiety, the food quality. It's just, oh, just stop eating food altogether. Of course you're going to get more hungry when you do that.
I think there's plenty of people that look at me and say, that's disgusting. I never want to look like that.
That's a good point. I'm glad he brought that up. Okay, so this dude, I like him off the bat because he's self-aware, which is good. A lot of people in fitness, like the guy next to him, are not self-aware at all.
The reason why I use that example is that you can get fat and lose the weight if you know what you're doing and you have the knowledge and everything else like that. It's just about consistency over time.
Let me cut you off, because here's one thing that you just said.
Yeah.
You had the tools. So there's people that don't have the tools that you've passed judgment on. You have failed to realize that with the tools, people are very much capable, but...
Okay, let's talk about said
no,
tools.
No, hold on, I'm not done.
Why, you cut me off
I'm
before.
not done.
Oh, they're going to butt heads, man. Oh, this is going to be a good battle.
And I stood over there and I listened to you and I was like, bullshit too.
Oh, sure.
But we're going to address this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You are passing judgment on people who lack the tools to do what it is that they need to do to get themselves to a certain point. There are multitudes of factors that weighs into what goes on with somebody's body. There are people that losing the weight does not come as simple as just going to the gym, cutting calories, watching everything that you eat.
He's right. Like I just said, you know, if you only watch typical mainstream fitness and nutrition content, just reduce calories, exercise, that's all the tools a lot of people get, man. That's an incomplete toolkit. That will work for a short amount of time, but you need long-term fixes to these things. I know some of you, oh, it's bullshit, bro. No, it's really not, guys. If that was true, if you could simply eat less and move more, do you think the obesity rate would be where it is? Like, I know there's a lot of lazy people, obviously, okay? But do you think it would be to this degree? No, man, plenty of people go on the diet and they do what they're told to do and they can't sustain it, and then they rapidly swing back in the other direction. Because their hormones are still a disaster. They have not fixed their satiety. They don't know how to actually, you know, read food labels and make good decisions about these things. This is getting good here.
There are some people that have a disposition I have a disposition. But does that mean that I'm not active? Does that mean that I'm not doing certain things? No, it doesn't. But you're passing judgment on somebody's body that you know nothing about. On the flip side, what if I turned around and I did the same thing to you? You're talking about how fit and stuff that you are, but you're over there and you're small as compared to these other guys.
Oh, dude, this guy is throwing haymakers. Oh my God.
So how does that feel if someone, you said shame, right?
That's a little.
You said shame, right?
Yeah.
So how does that feel if someone comes up and they start shaming you for size? Like, come on, it goes both ways.
We're just in the first prompt. We got to be careful about targeting each other too directly.
This host, I don't know who he is, but he's sitting here wearing Crocs. I don't know if he's going to have the control over this conversation. I hope this goes completely off the rails, man. Screw the rest of these guys. I want to see this guy and Myron one-on-one. This is awesome. 1v1 on Rust.
I mean, I'm not offended. It's fine. He's emotional.
No, it goes
fine.
in every direction.
He's obviously very triggered. But yeah, so let's talk about, let's hit the first part, tools. What are the tools? The tools are simply knowledge, which you can get for free on the internet. Then you're going to lose weight. It's just that simple. It's just that people want to always make excuses. No, you can watch your calories. You can go to the gym. You have time to do it.
I don't think anyone's debating that weight loss is impossible here. I think the question is, why do you hate fat people, that you feel the disgust towards it?
I'm not going to go ahead and give the same level of respect to someone who's a fat ass to someone that has worked really hard and diligently on their physique.
Basically what he's saying is he feels disgust because they can't use the knowledge that's readily available.
Your body's outward manifestations.
There's more
of your decisions,
factors to a
your
human
consistency.
being than their body.
Well, you could judge a lot just off of someone's physique. You'd be like, okay, well, this guy is lazy. And that's personified through their physique. It's the truth.
I would never look at someone and show disgust towards them. I think I would respect, like you said. I mean, you don't respect everyone.
Okay, Myron is totally going to call this guy the F word.
Respect is earned.
I mean, it is earned, but I mean, I think at a humane level, we can learn to appreciate each other's differences.
I don't know if like disgust would be the right word, right?
I know.
Greg mentioned some health implications with being overweight or obese. Being concerned might be a better.
That's the word I was going to go
better
for.
word.
Like I can show concern for someone for the way that they are, but I would never look at someone and say like, you're disgusting.
But is it any different than if you see somebody who's extremely anorexic, they're 50 pounds, you look at them and you're in shock?
This is great because Greg single-handedly has pushed so many young men, especially, some women too, but mostly young men. He has pushed so many guys toward that realm of the extreme. With if you can't see your abs, you're fat. If you're new to my channel, I have taken this guy to the shed to the level that he will not say my name. He'll make a reaction video to anybody except me. I'm not gonna go on the whole spiel, but he is so manipulative, he's so full of shit, he's so dumb. He's just a painful person. I will give him credit though, at least he's not squeaking here.
Oh my God, like something happens in your body you can't control. You can't stop that. Like how can you not? It's not, I don't hate them.
You just mentioned the polar opposite of what we are. But why would you look at them and be disgusted versus concerned? That is a very specific word, and it has very specific connotations behind it.
I don't think we can help how we feel. I don't think I can choose like, oh, I just am not. It would be sitting here and lying. I'm not gonna sit here and lie.
Not about this, perhaps.
I'm disgusted. This is just how I feel.
I mean, I do appreciate the honesty in that sense. One thing I can't stand is fake positivity, and that is just so rampant now, especially on the internet. I'd much rather hear that than being like, oh yes, I do feel bad for you and I want to help you. People really over-exaggerate how much they care about other people. People really do not care about other people. Even people close to them. I mean, maybe a little bit, but random people, no.
The thing is, when you see a fat person, the reason why it's disgusting and the reason why there's so much pushback, body positivity, and people make fun of Lizzo, rightfully so by the way, is because it's unattractive.
Unattractive is subjective.
You look good, feel good. But when you're fat, it says a lot about you. People aren't gonna sit there and be like, let me see if he's a good person. No, they're just gonna assume that you're lazy, which you are, by the way, when you're fat, and you don't have discipline, which you are, by the way.
You gotta give Myron credit, dude. He just takes little jabs every chance he gets.
Jacked men are more attractive than fat men. Will the agreeers please step forward?
I mean, not surprising, right?
How come there's 4 guys over there? So we're living in a bizarro world where people don't see the truth. Being obese and unhealthy is more attractive than being fit and healthy. How is this possible?
Here's an interesting concept. Who do you think women generally, like on the whole scale, are more turned off by? A typical IFBB pro bodybuilder, say Greg in his prime, who's 5% body fat, covered in veins, shredded, or the typical guy that's, say, 300 pounds and he's overweight. or whatever the equivalent is for somebody's height. I know in the fitness industry, people are like, oh man, Greg looks sick, or whatever bodybuilder looks sick, or whatever influencer, but I'll tell you what, man, in terms of the general public, both of those are a major turnoff. So something you have to keep in mind here, there are spectrums to this. So like you say jacked, you've got the swimmer's physique, you've got a little bit above that, you've got so-called like peak natty, which, you know, that's a whole nother can of worms. But you've got all these levels up to Big Ramy and Derek Lunsford and Nick Walker, right? The hugest guys alive right now. Then on the other end, you've got, okay, a guy that's a little overweight, so-called husky. Maybe he's bulking bear mode. Women do like that physique, by the way, as I talked about in another video, and from my own experience, plenty of you guys know that too. Plenty of women have no problem, and they might even be the most attracted to guys that carry a bit more fluff. Also too, an overweight guy with muscle versus an overweight guy that has barely any muscle, huge difference. Then you move up to, okay, this guy is just straight up fat, then you've got morbidly obese rate. So, you know, there's a lot of variance with these type of topics, but the fact that all four guys stayed in the back, they're holding it down. They're standing on business back there.
This is precisely why a majority of women find a majority of men as unattractive. Because a lot of guys think this way, oh, I'd just be a nice guy and girls are gonna like me. No, they're not. She's not gonna suck your dick with the same veracity when you're a fat fuck as when you're in shape. She's just not.
I'd say that's true roughly speaking, but that also can change based on status and money and some other things.
There might be 1% of the world that there's something wrong with them that might think that, yeah, you're 600 pounds, it's so hot, I love that.
The hot girls that you actually want, they exercise their hypergamy to the highest degree.
Oh, the H word, not hypertrophy, hypergamy.
And they want guys that are fit and have their money together, have their life together.
Yeah, well, guess what? There are plenty of dudes that are overweight that have a lot of money and a lot of status and a lot of other things. They're not going to struggle with women. In fact, you could argue there's plenty of guys who are on the modest end of the heavier scale that get more women than, you could say, Myron Gaines. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, there are old pictures of him in bed with men kissing him. You can look this up if you really want to. This guy is not some bastion of getting laid all the time. He's not some international player, even though that's what he might play on the internet. Schmucky the Clown, he was with, what's her name, that woman, I forget. The blonde one, he was with her for what, 10, 15, 12 years? Do you really think she was that into him, or was she just with him because he had a bunch of money from dealing PEDs, and then he got big on YouTube? And then didn't she leave him for Johnny Shreve or something? Yes, as a total concept, jacked guys are more attractive than fat guys to women. That said, a lot of jacked guys and bodybuilders, dudes in the fitness scene and stuff that you guys see, I mean, some of those guys do get laid plenty, but a lot of them, they don't. And a lot of them, too, come from the point of being incels. Okay? The incel to gym cell pipeline.
The question was, are jacked men more attractive? We all walked over. Are we more attracted to jacked men?
That's another good point. Like I said, a lot of guys in the fitness scene, especially bodybuilding, they're not straight.
Yeah, because we're all guys here they mean women.
Well, men can be attracted to men.
If I had to
we're just
switch
saying.
teams, I'm going with the jack guy.
We know that, Greg. We know that. We've heard you talk about Chris Bumstead and all these other dudes. We know.
Obviously, this is going to be like personal biases, but I think attraction is very fluid in the sense that can 100% admit, like, there was probably 40 pounds of muscle ago is when most women would be like attracted to me. Fitness girls, they're totally okay with the size I am, but like probably most girls, I'm like too much for.
He's correct. In terms of general physique, Myron and the guy next to him are more attractive than the dude in the orange.
So I guess, like, where do we draw that line of, like, I think, for example, like, you would be much more attractive to most women than me.
That doesn't mean that, like, if you walked up to a girl and let's say you're not her, like, you're a little bit more muscular than she would like, you have the charm and charisma, she gonna still go with you, man.
I think if you had Zach, right, you're on the end?
Yep.
If you put Zach and Greg and you put them next to each other and you did a poll, I think that most women would probably pick him.
Absolutely, not even a question.
Because he's got the height and all that.
Regardless of the height, Greg is just this creature.
What would you guys say to that?
No.
Of course Greg says no. Oh boy, you think? If you think the heavier dude that I was talking about earlier, he's got the good grooming and he's charismatic, dude, that guy, I guarantee you, has gotten more women in his life than Schmucky the Clown. And he still will. Not even a contest.
He's a lot younger than me. He's about a foot taller than me. I'm an old man. I'm 48 years old.
Obviously, height is a big component. If you take the same guy, same height, etc., but one guy is fat, one guy's in good shape, she's always going to go with the guy that's in better shape.
Because I've been so surprised to see on Instagram, there'll be like guys doing like an outfit try on, like not in shape in the slightest bit. And all the comments are women like, I wish like men knew this is how we wish they looked. And like, oh, this is like the
thing about, you can never believe what women say.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, Greg just said liars. Myron's, rolling his eyes too. Dude, women exaggerate a lot, and they will say things like that, you know, because women like to always appear, you know, like they're being friendly and being nice and stuff. But no, a lot of guys, they view attractive men through the lens of other men. They see a jacked bodybuilder, yeah, that's what women want, bro. He looks sick. You know, guys, women have a very wide range of preferences. So do men. I mean, this is just a general human sexuality thing. There's a wide range of preferences and body types people are into.
I disagreed mostly just with the blanket statement because attraction is so subjective.
It is. I have no doubts this guy has an easy time getting women.
I model clothing brands, I've been on the covers of magazines. I was flabbergasted when I started how many people commenting and DMing me that it just kind of, I don't know, showed me that attraction is a lot more subjective than I thought.
He's right.
Money, height, fame, like what can you bring to the table?
The number one thing is status. By far, status.
Status is very important, especially today in the gold digging culture.
People also go after what they think they can get.
A nice moment of honesty there from Schmucky. There you go, Greg.
I'm attracted to the 10 on 10 supermodel, but I'm not going to get her, so I'll be happy with the 9.9 on 10.
You're not getting a 9.9 if you can't get a 10. Bro, what kind of busted up math is that?
Just to be clear, are we speaking about women being attracted to men?
It's not just about women. It's just about attraction. What is the most attractive, in your opinion, physique for a man?
Guys, on the screen right now, I'm going to put up a message I got from a girl. And she is in very good shape. She goes to the gym all the time. She's an aspiring competitor in wellness, okay? She sent me this message a while ago. This was on my story. You can see I am higher body fat and my arms are covered in body hair. Look at what she told me. Now keep in mind as well, this same woman also is really into guys that are shredded and ripped, like bodybuilder level. She likes both of those things, even though they're so far apart on the spectrum.
I'm attracted to people in general. So you could be jacked, you could be more plus size, you could be skinny, you could be whatever it is that you are. I think the way that you carry yourself is a really big thing for me. I can't date someone who lacks confidence.
Oh, dude, Myron is just shaking like the Arthur Fist meme. He's trying so hard to keep his mouth shut.
What women put out there is what they find attractive or politically correct things. Oh, he has a dad bod. He's nice. He's a good guy. The reality is that women don't respond well and favorably to these men. Nice guys finish last is a thing. It's because when you're too nice and you kind of bend to her will, etc., girls aren't aroused by that. Girls don't want to say what they're really aroused by. Guys that are able to stand up to them. Guys that are able to tell them, well, that was a stupid comment. Hold them accountable for their stupidity when they do dumb things.
Okay, but physique has nothing to do with that. There are plenty of big buff jack guys who are simps, who are pushovers, who are nice guys. Bro, I see this on Instagram all the time. Bro, some of these guys, the biggest and buffest tradcons, right? They got the big beard and the muscles. These guys are some of the biggest simps on planet Earth. On the flip side, some of the cockiest, most arrogant dudes are spaghetti noodles, paper thin. They weigh 145 pounds. Some guys are going to be fatter like that too. I mean, how you look, it can affect your overall attitude and your confidence for sure, like that other guy just said, but your overall physique does not determine if you're a nice guy or if women can bully you, I guess, in that context. Those are not related.
I've talked to almost 3,000 women, and what I've come to realize from talking to all of them is that most of the time, you know, when they're in a comment section of TikTok, like, you're so handsome, blah, 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 will they actually go on a date and have sex with that guy? Probably not.
I mean, if they're going to leave comments on a guy's post and take the actual effort to do that and follow him, they probably would.
But they're married to those guys.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was
Most
getting to.
often they're married
I'm
to
married.
And marriage is a failed institution in the West, and this is why most men get divorced by women.
Oh boy, we're going to go off on a whole tirade. The host is going to cut this off.
This is why they get destroyed in the divorce courts. This is why women overwhelmingly initiated the divorce rates in America. 80% are initiated by women, because we sit here and we lie and we believe what women say they're actually attracted to.
I do understand Myron there in the context of a lot of men get used by women in the context of marriage. He's basically the wallet. And then she'll divorce him after however many years, you know, takes half his stuff.
Let's go back to attraction for a second, though, because I'm married.
Sure.
I have a child.
Cool.
I have a beautiful wife. I was this size the entire process through it.
Would you say that you're an average guy?
I would say that
You're
I'm
how
bigger
tall?
than average.
6'5", and a model
You're not an average guy.
for being slightly overweight.
I wasn't a model when I started
But
dating
you are a
my
very
wife.
good-looking, tall,
I was a bartender
big guy who's
doing
on
whatever.
magazine covers. So
But
out
I
of the
think-
million guys overweight, you're at the
you're
top.
not an average guy.
But I
1%.
think what
I'm
you're
saying-
missing is he just said that he wasn't any of those things.
He's not 5'6",
before
man like
he
me.
He's not a manlet like me.
met his
Try
wife.
being 5'6" and doing it.
You mentioned status. A lot of people other mention confidence. So you even put it in your own pecking order. ahead of being jacked or being
Yeah,
physically
status for sure.
attractive. Wouldn't you say that matters more? Confidence, how you carry yourself? Our society definitely finds jack guys more attractive. But I disagreed with the statement because it was a blanket statement that I have found untrue in my own life.
He was making the point about confidence, all this other stuff. This is what the so-called black pill talks about. But the whole just be confident, bro, just be this or that, especially in the social media era, we've seen how that doesn't really work.
Do all of you feel like you'd be more or less attractive, let's say 50 pounds lighter than you are, and simply like just body fat?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about the law of attraction, you focus so heavy about what women would find attractive and the perspective of the woman. Are you even attracted to yourself?
That's an interesting point. You know, that's something about fitness, you know, because you get to the point where it's never enough, right? You just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And, you know, you're at the point, even a lot of people after 2 years of good training, you're at the point where you're noticeably big to the general public. But in terms of the fitness industry, because that's where you're going to get your information from, that's your comparison point, you look like shit. And that's how you end up just getting the body dysmorphia and just going farther and farther into it. Then especially if you start competing. So that's an interesting argument. It's like, are people that are continually going to the gym, even if they're already noticeably in shape, like it's enough as it is, are they, well, he said attracted to yourself. I guess you could say that. You could also say unhappy with yourself or happy. Either end of that. It's an interesting dichotomy there between, okay, am I unhappy with myself? That's why I go to the gym so much, or am I that just committed to the pursuit? And there's going to be overlay between those two to a good extent, I would say.
When you look in that mirror, when you put your clothes on, are you like, damn, like I did that? Because when I got up this morning and I threw on my outfit, I was just like, yeah, I ate that.
He said I ate that. That's like a phrase that's common now, like, oh, sis, you ate. Myron's going to make an eating joke, I guarantee it.
Well, if you're going to talk about being attractive.
Oh, dude, that was low-hanging fruit, Myron. Come on.
Of course, you need to be able to look at the mirror and respect the man that you see looking back at you. When you look back and you see the guy and you're in shape, etc., and you feel good about yourself, look good, feel good. A byproduct of that is that women just tend to find you more attractive. It all works together. I think when fat people look at the mirror and they say, oh, I like that, that's cope, man. No, you don't. They say that to try to bring themselves up, but the reality is most of the time when you're fat, you look in the mirror, you're like, damn, I really let myself go.
Let's go to the next prompt.
This guy in his frickin' Crocs.
The body positivity movement is problematic.
I have an old video, guys. Well, it's not exactly about body positivity. It's about health at every size. The modern fitness industry is health at every size. We were looking at Greg earlier making those comments. I mean, dude, you got guys out here on gallons of steroids, eating absurd amounts of food, just getting as big as possible, talking about, oh, health, health. It's like, bro, what you do has nothing to do with health.
Well, I think where it becomes a problem is obviously you should be comfortable in your body, and if you genuinely love how you look, great, but you can't ignore your health. Being someone who is overweight, I've been fortunate enough not to have any extreme complications other than like, you know, knee pain and stuff like that. But I know people that, you know, that are my size or bigger and they have heart problems, diabetes. I have none of that. So the body positivity movement becomes a problem when you hide behind this shield of, oh, I should love my body, da 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 da. Great, but you have to be healthy too. You can't ignore your vitals.
Very true.
Shaming a celebrity, like let's say Adele, for losing weight, right? That's where I would kind of draw the line there.
Well, promoting Lizzo. Making fun of Adele for losing weight, but promoting Lizzo for being a fat ass. Unacceptable.
Yeah, that is hypocritical for sure.
Are a lot of people doing that?
I think the thing around Lizzo is it's not just the weight, it's the lifestyle. You like see her drinking all the time and partying and not sleeping. There's like so little to do with health that's going to influence other people to make bad decisions about their body and their health. That's problematic.
Yeah, what's Lizzo's Instagram handle? Lizzo be eating. And that's something that you can call plus size activists, if you want to say that. That's something a lot of them do. They kind of make the fact that they're gluttons part of their personality.
Body positivity is disempowering people. It's making them think that they're healthy at any size, which they're not. And so as soon as you start telling people, hey, just love your body, like Lizzo will literally rub her belly and said, you're giving me all this power as she's eating a burger and she's promoting being obese.
Even so, like I said, I mean, look at our dude in the orange here. He's a glutton, right? You could call me a glutton. Greg is a glutton. You know, anybody, even the dude next to the guy in the orange, everybody that is consciously over-consuming food to grow muscle mass and maintain muscle mass that is not needed, you know, it's purely cosmetic. You don't need that much muscle or anything remotely close to the amount of muscle this guy has in any context. It's like, oh, he's a bodybuilder. Well, bodybuilding serves no real purpose. It's not productive to society in any way.
When I expressed the desire to lose weight, another plus size individual that I used to be friends with was just like, well, I don't feel like I can share your content because I'm not sure how my followers are going to perceive this. I think it might be triggering for them.
Grown adults using the word triggered unsarcastically. God damn, man.
For a guy like you, or a guy like the two of you, might suffer from body dysmorphia. And that's a very real thing. You might not see yourself for what you really are. And so you're seeking unhealthy habits to achieve a goal.
That's what bodybuilding is in a nutshell. Yeah, he's not wrong.
Be healthy in it, in all aspects, like mentally, physically.
A lot of people in the fitness industry, whether it's recreational, influencer, bodybuilder, whatever, they are very mentally unwell. There's no doubt about that.
The body positivity movement is a huge psyop to keep us fatter and stupider. It's all a scam. The reality is that Big Pharma wants money, and they make a bunch of money on us being sick. There is no incentive to actually have you be healthy.
Yeah, I mean, the whole pharmaceutical thing, that's not even debatable at this point, I don't think.
I think the whole movement is a problem. The body positivity movement in general is a problem. All of it.
So you shouldn't feel positive even about your own, like for you, for instance.
Being happy and content with yourself, it's not given, it's earned. You have to go out there, work, and then you're gonna feel that satisfaction, like, I earned that, that feels
good. So at what point do you earn it though?
When you can look back in the mirror and actually, genuinely, not coping, respect the man that you see before you.
The dude in the green made an interesting point, when do you earn it? That does play into the whole body dysmorphia thing, because there's plenty of people that are objectively in very good shape, but they look in the mirror and they hate themselves and, oh, I look like shit. Oh, this isn't good enough, you know?
I genuinely do love my body.
Right now as you are?
Yeah.
Then why are you going to the gym?
And I'll explain to you.
Then why are you going to the gym?
I will explain it to you. I love everything that my body is capable of doing.
But you want to lose weight though.
And yeah, but I have one body. Why would I not love it? And because I love my
but
body
you understand
is
that your
why
body
I'm
now needs to be
looking to
changed.
make changes,
Yeah,
right?
make changes.
But to say that loving your body is BS, no, you make changes, you make healthy changes because you love yourself. All of that time that I'm putting in, the work, the money that I'm spending, that's a labor of love.
Like I said earlier, if you want to get to high levels of physique development, whether it's seriously like you're doing bodybuilding or whether just a recreational lifter, you have to have that mindset of it's never enough, because you just have to keep pushing farther and farther to just get incrementally more progress. You just have to just always be on top of yourself and never be satisfied with it.
So there's not a single problem.
Oh no, I'm not saying there's not a single problem. To me, body positivity is more about bodily autonomy.
When I'm speaking about body positivity, I'm talking about the over-acceptance and encouragement of being obese.
Again, I'm not super online. Have not seen anybody pro-obesity ever.
Lizzo. Oh, there's a bunch, dude.
She loves herself.
Nicocado avocado.
No. There's a big
They are
difference.
actively promoting obesity.
She's not telling anyone to get fat.
She's showing you exactly how to do it.
There's a bunch of fat influencers that push this body positivity situation, and a bunch of them are dead now. No one talks about that. That didn't hit mainstream news.
So I'm in that space.
Yeah.
Which influencers are you talking about? Because I'm unaware.
I don't recall their names.
Oh no, he doesn't have the exact citations. Brutal.
They're YouTubers. They used to do these mukbangs where they'd eat a bunch of food on
Hey,
camera.
Mukbang
that's
is
totally different.
Okay, but that's a
They're not
mukbang
a
is
part of our
different thing.
community. That's
Yeah.
a completely different thing. We're not saying we're gonna go to a restaurant and pig out just because it's entertaining or anything like that.
You got to understand, for the general masses, they're watching that, they're going to attribute it to that. They look at everyone who's obese, that's making content about being obese and continuing that lifestyle as a part of the body
But they're
positivity
not
movement.
making content about being obese. They're making content about overeating.
Yes, and they
which is
also
also
encourage
an
that.
eating disorder.
Eating disorder is fascinating because Greg Doucette is on this panel, who, pushes eating disorders onto teenagers. But I'm sure he's going to skate through this in this discussion.
Do you think just being in a fat body and being in the public space encourages obesity, just flat out?
Yes.
So just
agree.
us existing, we're saying,
Yes.
yay, everyone go gain weight?
It absolutely impacts other people to think, well, think of it. You're
I've
6'6",
never
good looking.
Greg talking about this guy's physical characteristics again.
You're modeling,
but I've
it's going to
never
encourage
looked at-
other people to, well, hey.
Any of us step into the gym, are we promoting being bigger like that too? Are we going there, and is our presence there unwanted?
By being famous, rich, popular, and being obese, you're indirectly promoting it in the same way that people who take steroids and are 350 pounds of muscle and winning the Mr. Olympia are indirectly promoting it, even if they don't say they're taking it.
We're not talking about exclusively just people with status, but he is right about that one thing. I mean, if you're going to argue that people who are obese basically promote or encourage it in public, you have to say the same thing about anybody that's very muscular. And like he said, by extension, the steroid use. You see somebody that's obviously juicing, even though normies would say, no, he's not. He just works hard and eats broccoli and chicken and rice, okay? By extension, it's the same thing.
If you saw us in the gym,
I would be happy and proud and excited, and my whole channel is about helping people who are overweight.
That's not what your whole channel's about, Greg. Your channel's like 95% drama with fitness influencers that are half your age.
Have realistic expectations. I would never say you have to look like this, you need abs. It's just, let's go halfway there. That's my entire channel, of which I have over 2 million followers.
Shut the fuck up, Greg.
Just on this side, I don't think any of us have ever looked at a person heavier than ourselves and gone, I want to be that. That's a great thing to be. No, when I do model fitness wear, which I do often, I get so many comments about like, oh, you are promoting obesity. I'm wearing fitness wear. I'm in the gym. I'm doing the thing, and I'm still promoting obesity?
Interesting question.
If you're exercising and you're trying to lose weight, then you're promoting people who are overweight to try to lose weight. That's great. But if you're Lizzo and rubbing your belly...
I'm promoting... I mean, I don't know shit about Lizzo.
Specifically about...
so obsessed with Lizzo.
Well, once again, man, Greg does this all the time. His brain is so small, he can only just hone in on one or two extreme examples. He just keeps bringing up Lizzo. Okay, we get it.
I do think we have a good read, though.
Look at our dude getting the subtle tricep flex in.
Next prompt is, I am satisfied with my sex life.
Oh, and they're gonna put a Patreon exclusive prompt, so we don't get to see it.
Agreeers, step forward.
Of course, the overcompensating manlet Greg runs over to his seat.
I have abused my body.
I'll start by saying I've abused my body many times. Professional bodybuilder, I've abused steroids, did that for over 10 years. I don't think you can get to the level that you have to get to be at to be a professional bodybuilder while being natural.
No, there's absolutely no chance, even though to this day, Greg would claim natural if he never got caught. I guarantee you that.
Somebody trying to abuse steroids to get that muscle, to get that look is just as unhealthy as somebody who's obese.
Good.
So I don't try to be a hypocrite. I say I've done these poor choices. I'm 48 now. I don't do steroids anymore.
Okay, Greg, sure.
So I recognize that what I did in the past was bad, probably took years off my life. And so I would say to people who are overweight, why don't you do the same thing? And if you're not, then do you really care about your health?
But then to your own argument, you spent 10 years doing something you knew was inherently unhealthy.
Correct.
But then you're gonna turn around and tell people that they should just wake up.
Bam.
But
yes, exactly. Like people should have told me, why do you keep doing this to yourself? You do not recognize what's going to happen?
They absolutely did tell you. You know they did.
I broke the world record in the bench press, and now I can't bench press anymore. And it was my favorite lift. I've had hip operations. I have both elbows reconstructed. I trained too hard.
Right, which is why he comes online and just squeaks train harder without any nuance.
I did that because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be sponsored. I wanted a pro card. I wanted to be famous. And it worked.
Professional bodybuilding has its risks. Obviously, I try to mitigate them as much as possible. I work with a company that I'm doing blood work every 3 months. I am very, very methodical with what I do, and I'm very, very on the mild side. You would be surprised.
Oh, of course. Everybody that admits to using does way less than everybody else.
I mean, basic.
Is it unfortunate that I am very passionate about something that is bodybuilding? I fell into it. I love it. It's hard for me, but I made a decision with my wife that at age 35, that's it, I'm done, like no more competitive bodybuilding.
That's the real thing, man. I mean, if you're really passionate or if something gives you that dopamine spike, which that is food for a lot of people. I mean, for a lot of people, their life is so just empty and meaningless, and you could say this for everybody, but just from the end of the fat side, overeating and binging and just, stuffing your face with that food, for a lot of people, I mean, that's the high point of their day. It's very hard to get them to not do that, and let alone not look forward to it.
There has to be a limit to it, because if you just let it go, I would have to be probably 25 more pounds of muscle and have to do things that I'm not willing to do in order to be like, let's say, Mr. Olympia.
It's the same thing with getting overly jacked. I mean, if you just love training, you love seeing the physical change, there's also like a fetish component to it a lot of people don't talk about too. It's like, why would I stop? Even if you know that there's the risk involved, it's like, yeah, but it makes me feel good. Life is kind of empty anyway. Screw it. Now, he said that he agreed with his wife he'd stop at 35. I don't know how old he is. I would guess he has at least a handful of years to that point. But that's probably the smartest way to do it if you're going to go crazy into bodybuilding. Get all the damage done when you're still on the younger side. Your body can tolerate it more so, and then get the accolades you can, and then get out. That's something Chris Bumstead has talked about. I think he's alluded to, I don't know if he's going to actually do this, but he's hinted at he's going to retire by age 30 or maybe a little bit over age 30. I think he's got a couple years to that point.
Hopefully I'll be okay.
Now that said, you do need the genetics to be able to do that. Because there's plenty of people, even if they started training at, say, 15, 16, it may take them 10 years and all those shows to get a pro card, let alone get to a higher level than just having the pro card, like winning some major shows. So from that vantage point, to get really good at bodybuilding at that young of an age, you already need all the genetic factors in your favor to begin with.
Do you use steroids currently?
Obviously, bro.
I mean, I use...
Look at Greg's face. He knows he's about to bullshit. Oh, man. Dude, just say yes. I mean, he just alluded to the fact that he did. He said, oh, I do less. I do moderate amounts. Get blood work done. Bro, come on. Dude, orange shirt. I like you, bro. Don't start bullshitting now. Come on.
That's the biggest insult in the world right now.
I only ask because, again, we're on the topic of body abuse, right? So I'm only asking that in that realm because of what you said about it.
I'm enhanced.
It took you a while to say that, bro. Notice he didn't say I use steroids, or just yes, he said I'm enhanced. You gotta use the fancy terminology. But no, that's a real thing, like I've tried to tell you guys, man. Greg will tell you this too, because he was a massive dealer, he knows this. Most people that use PEDs, not only do they not look like they use PEDs, a lot of them are so-called DYEL. Do you even lift? By lifting standards. Again, man, it's a total misconception that you can just do a cycle or two and you're going to have this insane physique. If it were only that easy.
I think it's important to also acknowledge that, like, there's abuse on both spectrums, right? Like, you can be a fat ass on one end and say, I'm going to just continue to eat cheeseburgers and put on TikTok. And then there's the other side where you can, you know, use performance enhancing drugs and say, I'm going to step on stage.
You don't even need to use PEDs to make it abuse, man. Bro, cutting down to the levels required to be competitive in bodybuilding today, natural or enhanced, is abusing your body. There is no argument against that if you are remotely sensible.
But I would make the argument that the person that is training, using PEDs, etc., I'd respect that individual more. Though it isn't healthy to be on performance-enhancing drugs, you're still pushing your body to a level that most can't, versus by just being fat, that doesn't take any skill or dedication.
I agree with that.
Fitness culture can be toxic.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Agree or step forward?
Everybody's gonna step forward, I would assume. Yeah, obviously.
It even like affects me because I'll see people and I'm like, oh, I look like garbage compared to that. There's a lot of, you know, misinformation online when it comes to like how to get fit, how to stay in shape. And a lot of people are monetizing it.
Yeah, like the guy to your right.
I would say also that there's so much pressure to look like us, and it's causing people to develop body dysmorphia. And so this is a huge problem.
Oh, I wonder who's pushed a ton of that in recent years, Greg.
And that caused a whole host of problems, eating disorders, people feeling like shit, they don't like the way they look in the mirror, and then they keep looking for information, and then what information they're getting, half of it's wrong.
This is absolutely mind-numbing. Oh my God. I mean, the past couple minutes has been everything that Greg does. The lack of self-awareness. Oh, Jesus.
And so where do we go from there? There's no solution.
There is one solution that wouldn't fix everything. It would fix something. Greg, delete your channel.
Understand that fitness is a lot more sustainable and easier than people think it is, which is why I make fun of fat people so much, because it really is simple and it comes down to numbers and tracking your calories and being disciplined and going to the gym. This is why I have no sympathy for fat people, because it really is simple.
Right there is what keeps guys like us out of getting into fitness.
Shouldn't it do the opposite though?
No, no one wants to be told they're a piece of shit.
If I was being made fun of all the time for being short, I'd wear shoe lifts.
Shaming rarely works.
Do your research, look at the studies. There's so much fitness studies out there.
Oh God. Okay, dude, first of all, telling people to just look at the studies is bullshit, because a lot of the people that are highly esteemed can't even interpret basic studies, for one thing. Second of all, the average person cannot interpret a study. Okay, here's what people do when they see a study. Title. Maybe read the abstract, probably read the conclusion. The second two might not even be done. They will just see the headline. They'll have no idea of the methodologies, the sample size, what was tangibly measured, if it was just surveys. We gave food frequency questionnaires to 1,000 people, and they told us they ate this, which you have no way of verifying, and then we saw an association with this, ergo X causes Y. No, it doesn't. We've talked about on this channel the hypertrophy studies. They get totally new lifters who will grow doing anything. They grew doing this, and it's just some absurd amount of volume. Dude, just saying do the research and read the study. Bro, you can't expect regular people to properly interpret studies. Dude, the esteemed people, allegedly esteemed people with the degrees and credentials that they watch, they can't interpret basic studies. They don't understand basic principles of things.
I would never, ever take advice from you because of whatever this disposition it is that you have going on, right?
What's the disposition?
You know what the disposition is, Myron, for fuck's sake.
You have this perspective about the world around you that I think is kind of really warped, and I don't understand why. I'm not getting it because you're like, shame is the answer and stuff like that, but
It's worked for
not.
centuries.
Like I said, whenever people who are exerting the shame have that control over the people they're shaming.
So here's the thing. You operate on what's ideal, I operate on what's real. And the reality is that the world is a much colder and harder place. The world's never gonna see you how you see yourself. They're gonna see you on how you display yourself to them. When you are fat, out of shape, etc., the people, and if they don't get to know you and talk to you and have a conversation with you, they're gonna assume certain things. That's just the world that we live in.
Coming from whether the fitness space can be toxic or not, the shame attitude has kept a lot of people out of it. I've been doing fad diets since I was 12 years old. I was put on Weight Watchers.
Like I told you guys, my grandma did, and she just went in circles all the time because she never actually learned, you know, she had access to things, she could look it up and stuff. I mean, dude, you need taught a number of variables to really make this, you know, a sustainable lifelong change. That's really what it comes down to. It's true. Certain people are luckier than others. Certain people just stay slimmer than others. Certain people have lower appetites. So it's not as cut and dry as a lot of people in fitness make it out to be. It's very common in fitness. They'll just basically shame the fatties. Like, oh, the fatties can't put the fork down. They just can't maintain a deficit. That strategy is not working, man.
Not until I started following other influencers that were more proactive based on, I want to be around for my daughter for as long as I possibly can be. I want to give my body the function it needs. Like just that basic mind shift, instead of you're a fat piece of shit, you need to change. It totally changed my relationship with fitness when I started realizing that it was a gross benefit instead of a punishment I had to put onto myself for not being disciplined enough. For people like you to maybe respect me.
I wasn't necessarily like happy with the way I look, and that kind of motivated me to get into fitness in the first place. I think to some degree, shame that's not put on by others could be helpful, right? It has to be something within yourself that can motivate you.
The day that I weigh in and it was like the scale read 1 pound over, like I would take those pills that make you shit, literally, to like lose that extra pound to see.
I try to tell you guys, man, obsessing over the scale is useful for long-term trends. Okay, you want to get bigger, you got to gain weight, lose fat, you're probably going to have to see the scale go down. But dude, the scale can fluctuate for so many reasons in the short term, even in the span of hours. I mean, minutes even. This obsession with calorie counting and the scale, I mean, it's basically a straight line path into eating disorder territory. Like I've said many times, I've talked about it on my channel a lot. People think it's only just skinny young girls doing this. Plenty of guys in the fitness scene now deal with the same things.
Some people, when they get shamed, they get shut down. And now they proceed further into that negative, you know, behavior because it's not something that was positive to bridge that gap.
That's a part of the masculine journey, is overcoming adversity.
It's not a talk of masculinity, bro. It's just like
being a pussy and being like, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong. Not everyone's going to win. We need winners and we need losers. You use that as fuel. It's up to you how you want to do it.
Isn't the goal of the fitness industry to get people more fit?
Yes. Of course.
Nope, not even close.
And we're saying shame and calling me a piece of shit doesn't motivate me to get more fit.
Well, we need winners and losers.
No.
I know he puts on the whole kind of alpha shtick thing, but Jesus. Also, like I just mentioned too, the point of the fitness industry is not to get people fit. If anything, it's to keep people not fit. So you keep consuming the content. Like, oh, maybe this will be the new thing. This will be the thing. This will be the thing.
Let's be clear though, you just said the right word, fitness industry. It's not necessarily to get people into shape, it's to make money.
Orange tank top, again, he gets it. Also, yet again, the fact that Greg Doucette is on this panel, notice he's very silent during this conversation right here.
But I think there's a difference between accountability and tough love than just like shaming somebody into doing something.
Shaming is a component to get people to be accountable.
We all just want to know when shame motivated you to be better.
Me personally?
Who else is he talking to, Myron?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm speaking in general here as
no,
far
I know,
as like
but don't
shame
speak
working.
general.
But
speak for yourself. When did shame change your life?
I think every man growing up has been shamed to some degree where they're like, you know what, I need to improve this. Whether they grew up skinny.
No, you
though.
Right.
I was skinny, right? And then I got picked on. And I was like, okay, I'm either gonna let this define me or I'm gonna overcome. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to the gym and start training.
In the fitness world, I would rather be with someone who's trying to uplift me, trying to get me to improve, hold me accountable. Tough love, absolutely, I think is important.
Yeah.
There's a total difference between tough love and shame.
Absolutely.
Shame is a component of tough love.
Shame is only done with the intent to hurt somebody, not to uplift them.
I will say this about Myron, man. you know, again, he's playing it up for the camera, I think, but he's the type of guy where if he has a kid, God help the kid.
I would not like to be on the other side. If that's true for you, come forward.
It's going to be 4-0 again, isn't it?
I'm very medium on this.
Yes, green jacket. Go at Myron, bro. Come on.
When I was in high school, they do your graduation photos, and they had a saying, and my saying was, my worst nightmare would be if I gained 10 pounds of fat.
Shocker, Greg. I could never have imagined that being true.
Literally, grade 12, I remember it clear as day. I was already a competitive bodybuilder.
I mean, this guy's had body dysmorphia since high school.
And so to imagine being 100 or 200 pounds overweight when I strive my whole life to look kind of like this.
I mean, yeah, it's completely unacceptable to be fat as a man, man. It's completely unacceptable.
Dude, Myron's got this strong ass like eyebrow thing he does. He's like, oh, I'll tell you what, man. I go, huh.
And the thing is that most fat people, not all, but most have never even seen their abs.
Most thin people have never seen abs either.
And we don't hold anybody accountable, and we allow mediocrity to strive in the West. And I think we need to go back to shaming fat people. We need to go back to making fun of them. I mean, if I was president, hell, I'd put all of them in a fat concentration camp.
Yo, you gotta give Myron credit, man. He is funny. I mean, that's hilarious. I mean, dude, he is really off the rails with this shit. He plays an alpha male on the internet. I mean, this is very in line with his branding. I don't think he actually believes these things.
So they can concentrate on dieting and exercising.
Oh yeah, he's joking around.
So I wouldn't necessarily want to go from one extreme to another. I also would not want to be spewing out stuff just to hopefully get a viral clip.
So if you could snap your fingers and look like any of us, would you not do it?
He doesn't want to look like you, Greg. I guarantee you that.
I'd probably choose to look like Tyler. I want to go to a place where it's comfortable and it's healthy all around. I've gone through having eating disorders from chewing gum and drinking water and starving myself. Like when I was dancing, my dance teacher blatantly told me, if you don't lose a certain amount of weight, I'm kicking you out of the showcase. I resorted to everything that I could possibly do to cut pounds like crazy. And it wasn't sustainable. It really screwed with me mentally.
You know what that sounds like? Bodybuilding.
But I was doing it, and of course, like, in the moment, it sort of felt good, but then I fainted in class one time.
So I feel like you would switch sides if it meant doing it naturally. Like he's obviously natural, he's natural.
That's what I'm saying.
Obviously not.
Well, Greg, I thought you said you were.
Excellence and comfort cannot coexist. If you want to be an anomaly and you want to be the trendsetter, you want to be the top guy, you got to be able to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
I don't think this guy said anything about wanting to be the top guy or being elite at anything.
How would you deal with the obesity problem?
As someone who creates content online, I share what it is that I do in the gym. I share my routine. Today was a shit day, but guess what? I pushed past that and I just benched 405.
Has this guy actually benched 405?
I'll tell my friends like, hey, pull up with me.
So you're inspiring others?
Yes.
What if I told you at the camp, everyone's exercising together and they're inspiring each other?
Bro, it's in the context of a camp, Myron. Oh my God, this guy is something else, bro.
Shame is what led me to an eating disorder. Shame is what led me to unsustainable weight loss.
Whose fault is that,
what
though?
we're looking for is stability.
Whose fault is that you decided to go an unsustainable route?
Without also having the tools to do so the proper way, and I'm just grasping at straws on how I do it, yeah, it's not sustainable.
So whose fault is it that they chose an unsustainable route to lose weight?
Well, if he doesn't know any better, yeah, that's what he's going to do. You're going to go for the shiny thing. That's any field, any industry, any scenario. If you don't have the knowledge, you're going to gravitate to the thing that is supposedly going to get you the quickest results because you don't know better.
That's your fault. See, the problem is that you're a professional victim. I don't know if you've caught on to this, but you're a professional victim.
Oh, these two are going at it again. Round 3.
You constantly blame
Oh, dude, he puffed the jacket. He's ready.
There's for your inadequacies and why you're fat. The reason why you're fat.
I haven't blamed not one person.
Because you're always like, oh, it's tough and all this other stuff.
Wait,
you eat too much and you don't exercise enough.
I'm trying to figure out where these misconceptions about me are.
Again, you can say whatever you want to say.
I do want to press.
Host, get your croc-wearing ass out of their way. Let them duke it out.
Yeah,
I called you out on it, and I said, you're searching for a viral clip.
Everyone has an excuse for why they're fat.
I think that it's really sad.
We got to pause. Let's bring in our disagreeers.
I have been in much more traditional, like aesthetically pleasing shape in my past. Of course, I'm curious about anyone's life, like what it's like to walk through their shoes.
If I could, I'd switch. So when I was my lightest weight, which was 273, I wasn't anywhere near you guys, but I had muscles. I felt really good about myself. Now that I've fallen back, I literally like almost hate life because I got somewhere, got really close, and it was out of reach, and now I'm falling back and I gotta fight again.
I've lived through this as a trainer more times than I could even count, okay? Someone gets back in it, they get the itch, it's New Year's, it's summertime, it's whatever, their birthday. maybe they got inspired by some movie. Oh, this actor, this actress looks so good. They go back in it for a number of months. They're pushing it. Man, all it takes is one bad day for a lot of people. Because if you're not innately really involved in the lifestyle, like if you don't love just training and eating and all this other stuff, like if you're not just hell-bent on the goal you have or just the aspects of it, you have 1 or 2 bad days, man. These people will stop going to the gym for years sometimes just because they had 1 or 2 bad days. And it just spirals out of control. Because if that discipline link gets broken even briefly, it just completely unravels, you know what I mean? So that's one of the things I think as serious lifters we don't resonate with enough. We really enjoy lifting. And, you know, the eating for most people is the bigger problem, but even so, just enjoying going to the gym, most people don't enjoy going to the gym. So the fact that you enjoy that by itself is a major advantage, whether you will admit that or not.
I absolutely would switch.
What makes it hard to, like, I don't understand, like, you were 273 feeling great. How did you get back? Like, I'm curious.
Yeah, see, Greg, he can't mentally work that out right now for himself.
When I started my weight loss journey, I was very focused, like I can't take any outside help. Like I gotta do this on my own. I did all the research myself. So my problem was when I would hit plateaus, it hit hard. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, why not cutting weight? So eventually I hit enough plateaus to where like my mentality was just breaking down.
I probably wouldn't go extreme like on your side of the spectrum, so that kind of stuff. But I would like to look like Tyler.
Everybody wants to look like Tyler. Nobody likes Myron because he comes off so abrasive, right? Tyler's very respectful. He's just sitting there cheesing it up. People are complimenting him. No one's complimented Myron. If Myron had the same vantage point in terms of how he approached this, they probably would have said they want to look like him too, or I want to look like Tyler or Myron. You see what I mean?
Tyler is the ideal for me of what I want to look like. But I mean, I wouldn't be that short too.
Oh man, you had to throw in the jab at his height. God damn.
Every fat person would want to be in shape. The problem is that they're not willing to do what's required to get in shape, hence why they are fat.
It's abundantly clear what you think.
Yo, I commend this guy, man. He is so hellbent on this shtick. He just will not let his foot off the gas at all.
Your physique is in your control.
I'm going to assume everybody sits down for this one.
So long story short, in 2018, I got to my heaviest weight, which was 441 pounds. I was depressed as fuck, man. My weight had built like a cage around my mind. So even things that I knew were good for me, I couldn't even like go for it because my mentality was just so messed up. I think one thing we haven't mentioned is accountability. I think that's the biggest thing. When I was growing up, my weight was always blamed on someone else. I am where I'm at now because I made a series of wrong choices and didn't handle myself correctly.
I mean, you deserve to be depressed if you're fat.
He doesn't miss a second, goddamn.
Life is a competition.
Where are you getting the notions that people are not disciplined? Like, where is that coming from?
You look at depressed guys, etc. Look at their life, 9 out of 10 times, they're not going to the gym, they're not making the money that they're supposed to be making, they're not where they need to be.
I wouldn't say 9 out of 10 times that's true. Dude, there's plenty of people that have a lot of money and fame and status that are still depressed and will even off themselves. I don't think that's nearly as correlated as he's making it out to be.
I still work out every week. I still prioritize my health, but there are other things in my life that do
Eat
take
half
a higher
the calories and you're going to be very skinny.
Just eat half the calories. That's it. That's it. That's the whole thing.
Because I've gotten really svelte in my past, but I was at like my worst state mentally. Like didn't feel good. Wasn't prioritizing the things that meant something to me in my life. My career, my family, my daughter. Still lift, still do cardio, still hike, still bike, still do all those things. The amount of time I've had to spend in the past to get to that isn't worth it in my daily life.
That's another aspect, man. Again, I know it's very easy, especially a lot of you guys watching are 16, 18, 20, 22. I'm not that old myself, right? I don't have a wife and kids or anything either, but it's very easy to be able to just pour all this time into watching videos about training, going to the gym 6 days a week. You get to the point when you have an actual life, and a big demographic of the fitness industry, let's be real, they don't have a life. It's not nearly as easy to be able to not only just adhere to this stuff, but let alone optimize every variable.
Would you agree, like looking at his physique, like he's at a perfectly, I would say, maybe healthy?
No.
I think
he's definitely overweight, definitely obese.
If you count BMI,
I'm not trying to put you down, just being honest.
By a BMI standpoint,
But there's a
I'm
big difference
absolutely
between
obese.
this weight and if you gain 200 pounds.
Why are we talking gaining 200 pounds? Again, Greg, goddamn, man, this guy, he can't keep his mind off of these just extreme examples with everything, dude. I mean, it's no wonder he went to the lengths he did to achieve what he did. I mean, his mind immediately just jumps to, oh, Lizzo and her big fat stomach, 600 pounds. If this guy gained 200 pounds for what he is.
But if you gain 200 pounds, it'd be like, Why are you doing this to yourself?
But I
That
wouldn't
would
be happy gaining 200 pounds. That's kind of what I'm saying. Is I kind of found like a homeostasis where I'm happy and I feel healthy. All my numbers are in the right place. So I feel good. It's just, it hasn't been a priority for me to go further.
Yeah, that's what it is right there, man. I mean, plenty of people, even if they get to around as a guy, say 20% body, even some guys at 25% body fat, if you've got no major health problems and you've got muscle mass, you can sustain that easily, you're comfortable. I'm not going to tell you to drop the weight, man.
I was in the same boat as him. I feel like myself, I feel comfortable with where I'm at right now. I've lost 100 pounds. Doctor says, everything's fine with you. You are obese. But I will never forget the doctor told me you're healthy obese, which was like blew my mind.
That actually can be a thing. You also can be skinny and metabolically unhealthy. You can look this up. It's called TOFI, T-O-F-I, thin outside, fat inside, or MUNW, metabolically unwell normal weight. So for example, Pakistan, I have to check the exact numbers, but it's something like Pakistan has a 2.5 times higher prevalence of diabetes than the United States. Maybe it's 3 or 4 times. But they have a much higher prevalence of diabetes, even though the obesity rate in Pakistan is noticeably lower than in the United States. Which again goes back to my point about food quality. I mean, you can eat low calories and not be too fat, but you can still be a metabolic mess inside. So just going on what you look like externally is not the only thing you have to worry about.
Healthy for being obese.
I needed just one health condition to qualify under health insurance for a weight loss supplement for them. I didn't qualify. I just want to lose weight because obviously as I get older, it's not going to be like that.
I was very curious, out of show of hands.
Well, they've changed spots.
Who here feels like you feel like you're closer to understanding the other side than when we stepped in the room?
Yeah, shocker, 2 narcissists.
I understand it less. Literally.
Well, of course, Greg, your brain doesn't work at all. I think there was good points brought up on each end. From what I can gather, the dude in the orange tank top and the guy in the black tank top, they were more grounded, like, you know, they're pretty thoughtful, they can understand it. The guys on the other side, you know, there's some excuses, of course, but they were pretty rational as well, I would say, for the most part. Myron Gaines went for all of the viral clips with his fresh and fit shirt on. Not surprising. He's playing a character. So if you guys have other videos like this in mind you want me to react to, drop them in the comments below, share your thoughts. Jubilee, please don't copyright strike this. I mean, I don't know why you would in the first place. But this has been it for me, guys. Thank you for watching. If you want to stop wasting time in the gym, maximize your progress, be sure to check out my programs down below. To get in direct contact with me, the best way to do so is on Patreon, and you're going to get lifetime access to our community Discord server there, and use my codes and links down below to save money on some great products and services. And I will catch you guys next time.